I hope you want to win high value business through LinkedIn. So I'm going to help you definitely do that. So quick story here. Um, this is my LinkedIn profile link, so you can connect with me there. And I'm also the Entrepreneur Summer School faculty for LinkedIn marketing. And that's a platform on Genius U, which has about 1.5 million entrepreneurs across the globe. So I've been in this particular networking business for the last 16 years, I was telling Sharad. And the amazing thing is that when I started in 2004, I was one of the early adopters for online networking. And I'd moved from the UK to India to get this organization called BNI started, which was a business network. And the only problem was I only knew one person when I moved to India. So literally, I was starting from scratch. And I didn't do very well initially, but then I began to explore these online networks and I began to get traction on there. And through that, I met some really amazing people. They became clients of mine. They began to introduce me to very influential people. I began to get partners. I began to get franchisees. I began to get suppliers. So, it really became something huge for me. And since I've been able to help tens uh, of thousands of people really generate business through networking. Okay, so if you are on the app, the mobile app, okay, you can take a particular screenshot. There's a QR code that you can get, and you can see it at the top right hand side in your mobile app. And if you tap there and a screen will come on, you can just click on that and you should be able to connect with me. Okay. So that's one way in which we can get this going. So I want you to take tons of notes. This is going to be really a interactive and fast moving session. Okay. So why LinkedIn? Um, I've been involved with social media from 2008, and I've seen this big wave come. And what I've noticed is if you look at platforms like Facebook, Instagram, etc., the organic reach has been dropping quite dramatically, and it's almost become a pay-to-play platform. But when it comes to LinkedIn really has been the premier business network. Initially, it started out as something that really helped you get a job or you could get talent. But really now it has transitioned and become an amazing business network where you can not only get new leads, but you can also grow your brand and thought leadership. So let's look at some of the important things. There's now 690 million users, and Microsoft, that now owns LinkedIn, would like to take it up to 1 billion plus. 4 out of 5 of those particular people actually are decision makers. And 41% of millionaires are on LinkedIn. So you get really quality people on LinkedIn. And there's great organic reach. And then we'll talk about organic reach a little bit later. There was a little poll that I had done. And talking about polls, I think there's also going to be a poll that we're going to be doing. So a couple of them. So Sharad, I will hand over to you in a moment. Yeah. So I think there's a little poll there. How much time do you spend on LinkedIn in a day? So just okay. Here we go. So people are voting. Tons of people voting. Okay. So less than an hour a day. 1 to 2 hours a day, 34, 36%, more than 2 hours a day, 13%, and they live on LinkedIn, 5%. Okay. So a majority, about half of you are kind of less than an hour a day. Okay. So let's help that hour, less than an hour a day, become really productive. Okay. So let's look at, Sharon, can you just share the results?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's there.
Awesome. The key thing I want you to understand is that this network is hyper targeted. Literally, you can put in a very specific title and a city, a pin code, and you can begin to find people who would be listed under there. There is no other social network that allows you to find people to this level of reach and accuracy. So, for that particular reason, I just love LinkedIn. Okay, give me a second. So you can see that in terms of lead generation, give me a second. I have to just see if I can move this poll. It's in my way right now. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm moving it to the side. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see HubSpot had done this particular research of about 5,000 businesses, both B2B and B2C businesses. And in terms of lead generation, LinkedIn was the best, 274%, compared to Facebook and Twitter. In terms of organic reach, we are seeing LinkedIn have an amazing organic reach. And you can see in this particular poll that I've done on LinkedIn, we got 78% saying that their organic reach was better than Facebook and Instagram. Now, I have a community both on Facebook and Instagram, and I'd sent this out to my email list where people are from across these three platforms, but you can see LinkedIn was the real winner there. So let's look at how we can tap into this amazing opportunity, because really it is an untapped business opportunity. And I was just showing Sharad a particular graph that had been released from LinkedIn. And we were looking at it, from the time of 1st February to 23rd March this year. And there'd been a 2,781% increase in engagement on LinkedIn. So definitely people are spending a huge amount of time now on LinkedIn, and you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. Okay, so what are the three things when I talk to them, that stop people from actually using LinkedIn? The first is they don't know how to be visible on LinkedIn. The second is they don't know how to approach people, and they don't want to approach and be too salesy. And the last is that they don't know how to turn connections into high-paying clients. Okay, so we will help you with all these three. So in my mind, there are three very specific profit levers that will help you win LinkedIn. First, you've got to be able to optimize your profile. And if you're able to do that, you will be visible and you'll be found by people on LinkedIn. The second is you've got to know who your perfect prospect is. Who is the ideal client that you are trying to attract? Okay. You've got to learn how to engage them on the platform. And then lastly, there's ways in which you can further interact, which will then help build a conversation where people get to know, like, and trust you. Okay. So let's look at all these three as we go along. Sharad, how are we doing with everyone? Everyone good?
Yeah, yeah, we have 84 participants in the room.
Nice.
And yeah, all good.
Okay, so awesome. So let's get into how do we put together a killer LinkedIn profile. And this is how you'll be able to quickly build your credibility. Okay. Now, why do you want to optimize your profile? Even if you're not going to be very active on LinkedIn, what's going to happen is that the LinkedIn platform is super well optimized. So your LinkedIn profile will turn up on Google search. And if you're not very active on social media, you don't have a very active website, it's very likely that your LinkedIn profile is going to be one of the first things. If you were to type in your name into Google, that's what you will be able to see. So, for that particular reason, we want to make sure that people see the right things. Secondly, there are 6.7 billion searches being done on LinkedIn every year. You want to turn up for the things that you want to be found for, okay? And if you're optimized in the right way, you will. If you're not, you won't, okay? And then lastly, when particularly B2B buyers are looking at making a buying decision, they will research you on LinkedIn. And this is the stat: 67% of B2B buyers will check out your LinkedIn profile before buying from you. So these are three reasons why we want to make sure that we have a great LinkedIn profile. Okay, so how do we um, optimize? These are the 5 most important things: your profile photo, the background image, which is the profile banner, your headline, your about section, and recommendations. And I'm going to go through each and every one of them with some live examples. Okay, so your LinkedIn photo, when they do heat maps, this is the first thing that people are going to see. Okay, so it's important you make a great first impression. Now, profiles with professional headshots will receive 14 times more views. How many? 14 times more. And they're 9 times more likely to receive connection requests and 36 times more likely to get messages. Okay, so it's really, really important. Now, these are all clients of mine, and these are all great looking headshots. So this is, what a great looking headshot looks like. And let's look at the format. We want that sort of passport size, head facing forward with a smile, okay? Just kind of above the shoulder. You've got a neutral background at the back. You are in appropriate dress. You're looking directly into the camera, and important, you are smiling, okay? So these are some key, aspects. Now, there's a great site for free, and I love free, okay? Photofeeler.com, okay? You can be rated for likability, for competence, for how influential people think you are, okay? And you can post various photos of yours, and strangers will rate you on these 3 things. Okay, so it's a great site where you can find out how to do that. Okay, now what are some of the mistakes not to make? Number 1, you don't want a group photo. Okay, this is for you. This is a professional platform. Keep it professional. Okay, so no group photos. Number 2, the gentleman running, even if you're a marathon enthusiast, okay, um, keep it professional. Okay, is this how you want people who want to do business with you to see you? Okay, this is the first impression. Okay, the third one on the right at the top. Okay, it's too dark, looks very intense, looks scary. Okay, you don't want to be scary, you want to be likable. Okay, the bottom left, you don't want one of those throwback Thursdays type of photos. You don't want that proud parent photo as well. That might work for Facebook, but not here on LinkedIn. And lastly, the one at the bottom, I actually found it on someone's, I received a profile request, and they may have been on holiday and this was the great view from their villa, but it's not something that you want, okay? So don't make these particular mistakes, okay? So I hope that makes sense to you, okay? Now, let's come to the profile banner. This perhaps is one of the most underutilized parts out there, okay? This is a great opportunity for you to brand yourself. Now, again, this is one of my clients, and you can see, he's got his photo. He should have smiled a little bit more, but, the main photo on the profile, he's looking a little bit more likable. But the great thing is, on the left, he's got his logo, and on the right, he's got some keywords under which he wants to be found. He's got a very clear headline in terms of, who does he help and how does he help them, okay? So this is a great way in which you can brand yourself. Imagine that LinkedIn has given you this free, huge billboard, okay? And you can put anything on it. And I'm surprised with so many people, not putting anything on it. Okay, would you, pay for a billboard and then not use it? Okay, so, please use this in the right way. These are some other examples of clients. Okay, so here's a friend of mine and client, Lena, who's in the gifting business. Okay. Now here you can see mine. And here I've specifically put in some images of some famous people that I'm with who are quite well known. So again, it builds my authority and credibility by association. And I've put in some key search terms that I want to be found. And it's just above my profile photo. So you can see business mentor, LinkedIn expert, international speaker, etc. So people are going to see your profile photo first, then they're going to go up to your banner photo. And then if the keywords stand down, as they do here, then you will see that suddenly that registers. Okay, so amplify your authority, credibility, and expertise. Okay, now obviously you don't want the aqua blue or aqua green sort of background. This is the default setting, and you don't want that blank photo. Okay, so 2 key action points there. Okay, make sure that you have a optimized profile photo and you've updated your banner to amplify your credibility. So I hope that's making sense. About 65% of people in the world are visual, okay? This is all about making that visual impact and making that first great impression. I want this to sink in, okay? Your profile is working for you 24/7. Your profile is working for you 24/7, okay? People can go to it at any time, okay? People are going to be seeing it globally, okay? Is it working for you in the right way, okay? With some of these things, it will be. Okay, so I hope that's making sense. Okay, now let's come to something that will help you be found quickly on this platform. And it's to do with your profile headline, okay? This is one of the most visible parts in your LinkedIn profile, and it's a major factor in LinkedIn's search algorithm, okay? So where is the headline? It's just literally under your name, and you want to specifically use key search terms. Now, LinkedIn about a month and a half ago increased the character count to 220. So you're able to have up to 220 characters. That's not words, but characters. And I would suggest that if you are doing some search, what are the terms that you would want to be found? Think in terms of search engine optimization, okay? So you can see here in mine, LinkedIn expert, social selling expert, digital marketing coach. These are some of the things I want to be found under, okay? I have a number of different things that I do as well. So business mentor, I run business masterminds. So I've included those. But at the end, you can see I've also put there, I help consultants win high value business on LinkedIn. So who do you help? So who's the target market? And how do you help them? And it's a short, succinct sentence. Think of this as your elevator pitch. When you meet someone at a networking event, if you do this elevator pitch in the right way, people will naturally ask you, how do you do that? Okay, that's the sign of a great elevator pitch. So if I say I help consultants win high value business on LinkedIn, oh, how do you do that? So these are some things that are very important. Okay, so I hope it's making sense to you. What are some of the things you should do and should not do? Okay, so this is one of the things that I would suggest. I help insert the specific target market. And I want you to optimize thinking with the target market in mind, okay? And then what's a key result that that target market wants? Mention that. Because if you can help them do that, you suddenly become super attractive to them. You will notice that I hadn't used a word like CEO, founder, etc. You can use that in your experience section, but not in your headline, okay? Also, don't use TLAs. Now, what are TLAs? 3-letter abbreviations. We all like those. They end up being kind of industry jargon, but we may know what we're talking about, but others may not. I'll just give you an idea. I was talking to a professor one day, and I was talking about SMEs. In my mind, SMEs were small and medium-sized enterprises. As we had that conversation, it became apparent that we were talking about two very different SMEs. And I then asked him, what do you mean by SME? He said, subject matter expert. So SME, same 3-letter word abbreviation, but meaning two very different things, okay? So don't use them in your headlines, okay? So I hope this is making sense. So I want you to revise your headline and make sure the relevant keywords are being used, remove the jargon, think in terms of search engine optimization. So I hope people are finding value out of it. If you can just put in a comment, I'll take a quick sip of water.
Yeah, Neeraj, I have Sandeep saying every word is meaningful. So there you go.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's keep cracking on. Okay, now let's come to the about section. In my mind, I think after the photo, if someone is really going to be serious about working with you, they're going to read the about section. And they're going to read it carefully. Think of your about section as a sales page selling you. And it's amazing how many people just don't use it, or, they just put in very short details, okay? So I'm if you go to my thing, you'll be able to see this, okay? You'll notice a couple of key things. It's very easy to read. I'm using short paragraphs. Typically, I don't want to use more than 3 lines per paragraph. You're allowed 2,000 characters. I would suggest use 2,000 characters. Create it in Word, okay, and then cut, copy, and paste it here. You will see I've used a lot of bullet points, okay. I've used icons. I've used emojis. It makes it easy to read. Again, remember, 65% of the people who will see this are visual. Make it easy. You will see at the bottom, there's a call to action. There's even some social proof. Why am I good? Who have I helped? How they can reach out. And the most important thing, it is prospect facing. It explains what I do. So, who do I help? How I help them? And why what I do works. What are some of the services I provide? What are some of the types of businesses I work with? Okay. And this is the format that I've studied thousands, absolutely thousands of LinkedIn profiles. I'm always looking at, what's working out there and what's not. And this is a compilation of some of the best that I've ever seen out there. And I put this together. Okay. Now, again, your about section should amplify your authority, your credibility, and your expertise in serving your target market. If it's able to do that, don't try and be everything to everyone, because when you try and do that, your impact will be lost. You will just seem like everyone else out there. But when you are this specific, okay, it will really reach out to the target market that you are trying to attract. Okay, so I hope this is making sense. Now, some really important do nots, okay? Do not use this as your CV. The experience section can kind of be your CV, okay? That's where you can talk about previous jobs and things like that. Remember, I said the about section is more like a sales page, sell yourself, prove that you are good, okay? Again, do not use industry jargon. Think in terms of layman's terms. If you are talking to the average client of yours, without using jargon, what would you say? Don't write in third person, write in first person, as if you are writing it to that person, as if you're writing to that one person. Imagine if you could get your ideal dream client. Imagine you're writing to them. Just write it like that. Use up all your 2,000 characters. And most importantly, have a very specific call to action. What's the next step that you want them to take? How do you want them to reach out to you? Okay, make it easy for people to do so. Okay, so these are some really important things not to do. Hope this is all making sense. Okay, so out of all the things that I typically see, this is the one that will take a little bit more time, but if you invest this little bit of time, you will see great dividends. Pay special attention to the first 2 sentences, because that's what LinkedIn will initially show, and then people will have to click on that see more. So it's about, using that I help target market achieve XYZ, and then people saying, oh, I'm curious, I want to know how, see more. Okay, so very important. Okay, then we come to the last part where you're using a key part of influence. Let's use social proof. And there are many ways in which you can end up using social proof on LinkedIn, but there's one brilliant way, which is through recommendations. Rather than you telling the world you're good, it's someone else who's used your product or service telling others that you are good. When we are looking at buying products or services, don't we look at other people's reviews? And it has a big influence on our buying decisions. So use this really well. And it's important that you have some really credible people, your current and past clients, and you want them talking about specific things, okay? You can ask people for a recommendation, and you can see that arrow is showing you, and you can do that. Don't just use that generic, give me a recommendation. Be specific about what kind of things you want them to put. And I would even follow it up with a phone call, preempting them and saying, hey, I'm going to be sending you this. If it's okay, that would be really cool. I've done that recently, and I've got a real influential client and businessman, give me a brilliant testimonial. Okay, so it really works. Okay, now one of the action points, you want to at least have 5 current or past clients giving you a recommendation. Okay, so I hope this is making sense. Optimize the right profile photo, have the right banner, be found with the right search engine optimization in terms of your headline, structure your about section in a very particular way, and then have at least 5 recommendations. So if you do these are, I would say, the 5 most important things you need to have in place if you're going to have a killer winning LinkedIn profile. Okay. So with that, at least I wanted to get some feedback from you, Sharad, and the participants. Are you guys finding value from this? And if you are, what's one key action you're going to take based on what I've just shared?
Yeah, so Vipul says going great. Tricia says great practical info. Kiran says super value. Nirmala wants to immediately update her profile, etc., etc., etc. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So did you want to do any poll
Yeah, I
now
have
before we
one which
switch?
is ready. Yeah, and let me just launch this.
Yeah. So we have a new poll. How many connections do you have? And this is going to be important for the next part, because we get into, the whole thing about your network and prospecting. Okay. So we've got some real LinkedIn pros here, it seems.
Yes. If somebody is close to 30,000 connections,
Wow.
I'd like to know through the chat.
So about 40% have more than 2,000, which is amazing. 9% have between 1 to 2,000. 500 to 1,000, it's 17%, and 35% have actually less than 500. So what I would say is that the first thing you want to do is at least get to 1,000 connections on LinkedIn. It's going to be a important key part. Okay, you will be able to not only find prospects in a better way, but other people will also be able to find you if you have a bigger network. Okay. Okay.
So those are the final results of the poll.
Awesome. Okay. So we've got some real LinkedIn pros here. So let's see how we can help you do this. Okay. Now, one of the things I wanted to do is there's a free gift I have if you want to optimize your profile even more. Okay, there are 8 very specific tips that I have and actions you can take. If you go to lp.neerajshah.me, you'll be able to get it for free. Okay, and you'll be able to action those. So you can go ahead, get your free gift there. We'll come back to this a little bit later at the end as well. Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to move the poll because it's coming in my way again as well. Give me a sec. Okay. Okay. Okay, now let's come to how do you find your perfect prospects and engage them on LinkedIn? Okay, so you need to be visible first to your target audience. If they search for you, will you be found? And you need to also know how to search for them so that you end up finding the right people. With 690 million people out there on LinkedIn, if you don't know how to use the search tool, you may not be able to connect with the right people. Okay, so there are 3 things that we need to do. Okay, first, we need to search in the right way. Once you've found them, go visit their profile, find some key commonalities, find things of interest, and then number 3, you want to engage with them in terms of their posts. Okay. Now, if you know your target market, okay, what industry are they from, the demographics, the kind of companies, things like that, the roles that they have, then you'll be able to use the search functionality, and it's super powerful, even in the free version of LinkedIn. Okay, you don't even have to go to premium or the LinkedIn Navigator for that. Okay, obviously, if you do with those, then you get even more search functionality. But even with the free, it's so super powerful. Begin to identify the right people within a particular geographic location, and then begin to visit their profiles. Okay, you will gather intelligence about them. Okay, you will be able to get to know them first, and then if you engage with their post, then suddenly you will become visible to them. And not only will you become visible to them, you will also become visible to their network. It's very important. Okay, so that commenting is not only going to help you become visible to that person, but all the other people that they have in their network, that comment will also be visible. Okay, so this is really important. Now, so important. Do not connect to someone immediately and start to sell to them. It's like going to a networking event. You do that card exchange, and as soon as the card exchange is finished, it's like you're putting a brochure in their hands and you're trying to sell them. It's just not going to go down well. If I was to give a different example in terms of relationships, dating, okay, it's like meeting a girl for the first time and proposing to her. It's just not going to go down very well. So it's really important that you look at building relationships up with people. Okay? Ryan Dice, who's an amazing digital marketer, he said, conversations are the new lead. Conversations are the new lead. If you really want to get return on investment, ROI on networking, then the only way you are going to be able to do it is if people know you like you, and then trust you. So it's really important, if you build relationships up with them, focus instead of ROI, focus on ROR, the return on relationships. Don't have a network which is a mile wide but an inch deep. You want to have a network where you have depth of relationship there. Okay, so focus on that. Okay, so this is how you can really do it. So how can you do that even further better? Okay, go and visit their profile, like some of their previous posts, comment, make a list. Once I've shortlisted people, I have a short list of people that I want to become visible to. I have my top 100. You create a little spreadsheet and start following them. Notice some of the groups that they are part of. If they've written articles, read those articles. Get to know their viewpoints. Leave meaningful comments. After that, you can send a personalized connection request. Just don't send a connection request. It's like giving your business card and then you're not saying anything else. You're not even saying hello. Would you do that at a offline networking event? No, you wouldn't. You'd introduce yourself. So again, use those particular things. It's becoming more important. We don't know how long COVID is going to last. But I can tell you digital networking is going to continue to grow. And if you know how to network digitally in the right way, you really will be able to make the right first impression upon people. Okay, so it's really important. So identify 5 people you want to connect with. I look at 5 people that I haven't connected with for a long time that are already part of my network. Do a reconnection message to them. Go revisit their profile. Gather some intelligence. What are they doing right now? And then send a reconnection request. Okay, leave some meaningful contact with, and then begin to use this same tactic and strategy, and you'll see that you will be able to quickly build strong relationships that are built on trust. And we're interested in trust because it is know, like, and trust. Only then people will do business with you. Okay, so hope this is making sense to people. Sharad, just checking in with you.
Yes, so far so good. Nurture a relationship. Digital networking is here to stay. Good idea to send a reconnection message and follow the steps: know, like, and trust, in that order, I guess. Yeah, Rajender says superb, and Dilip likes what he's hearing. Okay, Neeraj, it seems that
what are people finding the chat?
Yeah, Neeraj, your audio is not so clear right now.
I think
Yeah,
it should be clearer now. I think there was something in between that was stopping me.
Yeah, all good.
All good. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's continue further. So let's look at how we can now begin to turn some of these connections into high value clients. Okay. So now we come to the profit stage. So I mentioned this earlier, but think of it in terms of the social selling principles, building that. And it is a process. First, you've got to become visible. You've got to be found, and people have got to know that you exist. Then you've got to show people that you are a credible source. Is there a problem that you solve? Because typically your audience, and most people's audiences, are more problem aware than they are solution or results aware. If I have a problem, I definitely know my problem. I may not know that there's a solution for it. And I certainly probably, if I don't know there's a solution, I won't know the kind of results I can expect to get. Okay. So you need to help them people along that way, where you will have to then build credibility, and that will then lead to profitability. So how can we use the platform to begin to move from visibility into credibility and profitability? One of the easiest ways in which you can do that is by posting content on LinkedIn. Now, it's interesting. The other day, Sharad had posted, I think, 2 million articles and posts go up every day. Okay. But it's amazing, less than 1% of the people on LinkedIn are actually creating that content. So if you are one of these people who does that, then you can begin to stand out in the right way. There are perhaps 6 ways in which you can look at posting on LinkedIn. One is, get conversation started, and it goes in line with what I said earlier. Conversation is the new lead. Okay, have meaningful conversations. It starts by asking questions. I'll show you some posts like that. Number 2, share value. Help people out there. One of the things I really like and I'm into is productivity. I ended up sharing some posts on that, and it's got a lot of traction. I visited a particular seminar last year on my birthday, and it was all related to purpose. So I did a little summary about it, and that little summary got over 10,000 views. So share value. Number 3, build trust. How can you do that? You can have a case study. Okay, that will build trust. You can demonstrate your expertise, make people of how you solved a particular problem that your target market faces. Use posts to develop relationships, give kudos, thank people, show gratitude, highlight people who've impacted you. So for that particular seminar that I had attended on purpose, there were 4 eminent people there. I tagged all the 4. Now it helped me develop a relationship with those people, because I will then show up as someone who's tagged them. If you put results posts, you will then be able to generate new leads. You will be able to generate new business. And every now and then you can ask for business. Okay. Specifically mention a call to action and say, hey, I have this new course I'm launching, or whatever it is, new product. Okay. You want to have those happen less. You want to do the other, 5 very well. And let me show you some ways in which you can do that. This is an example of a short content post. And it's simply a question I'm asking. Okay. And you can see that particular question, I posted it on a Sunday and it got some 2,000 plus views. And you'll note that I've only used 3 hashtags. Okay, this is not Instagram. Don't end up using, like 10, 12 hashtags. Best practice is 3 hashtags. Okay, and I'm asking a question which, hit me. I was listening to a podcast, an audiobook, and it really hit me. And I said, this is a great question to share. And it got 19 comments. Next, you could do a long post. Okay, so here I was putting a spotlight on a couple of people in my network and what they had been talking about. And then at the bottom, you can see I had put it in a small call to action. If you'd like to attend one of these events, put mastermind below. And, I did get a number of people asking me, which then ended up becoming visitors, and they even converted as being members in my mastermind. But initially, you can see 80% of it is focused on, who was sharing value and what value they were sharing. The quote post or the photo post, okay, works really well. Now in this one, Reid Hoffman is like one of the founders of LinkedIn. So I decided to mention him. I used a quote by him and it was a marketing related one. And this one became a trending post on marketing. And this is good because I want to be known for marketing. Okay. So this is something that you can end up doing really easily. Okay. Lastly, a video post. Now you can see this particular video post, it's got a great image. Okay. It's literally only 16 seconds. It's not even posted by me. It's posted by someone else, okay, in my network. But you can see he's got 15,000 views. It really is an amazing little video. So it can be these short, anecdotal, inspirational videos. You can see it can really help you get traction. Okay. So these are 4 simple ways in which you can become visible and do the 6 things that I mentioned. Now, some posting etiquette. Post about 3 times a week. Post during the weekdays. Wednesdays seems to get a lot of traction, but also is the most competitive. So, what I would say, be consistent. Consistency beats intensity. Okay. Consistency beats intensity. Okay. Be consistent in your posting. Okay. Tag some relevant people. And once you begin to do that, you will see some good traction. You will become visible. When people comment on your post, begin to comment back and develop a conversation. And this very simple step will begin to generate business for you. Literally, 3 weeks ago, Sharad and I did not know each other. He had ended up tagging someone that I knew from my network. And then I ended up commenting on that particular post. And then after that, I reached out to him, and before you knew it, we are having a webinar, and we've had some 200 plus people register for this, and we've had some amazing things that we're working on that we're going to be doing. So, can you see how quickly these things can begin to happen? You really get quality people on LinkedIn. It's like no other network out there. And the only way in which you can engage quality people is through quality conversations. Okay, so I hope people are clear about this. Okay, and I hope I've been able to answer this particular question. is LinkedIn for me. If you've not been investing much time in LinkedIn, or you've been a bit on and off, I hope this has convinced you that I should take LinkedIn much more seriously, and I should invest more time on a daily basis. And if you do some of the things that I've talked about, you will immediately begin to see traction. So hope that is good. Shard, over to you. How's everyone coming along? I just wanted to check in with you.
Yes, I do have a lot of questions for you, Neeraj, through the Q&A tab and also on chat. So if
Okay.
you are ready, I'll start,
Sure.
asking you some of those questions.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so what are the best practices on tagging people on LinkedIn?
So typically, you want to end up tagging people that you know. Uh, and as you begun to have conversations with you, it's more likely if you tag them that they're more likely to then come in and comment. The algorithm, the way it works on LinkedIn is that it will first look at what happens in the first hour of you putting a post on. Okay. And if there is some commenting going on, there's some likes, some shares, things like that. And as more people begin to comment and you comment back, LinkedIn will begin to say, oh, okay, this must be important and interesting. So it will then begin to show more people from your network. It doesn't immediately show your whole network. There's something called dwell time, and as this interaction is happening and this momentum builds up, it will begin to show it to more and more people, and more and more people of the network. So it's good to do that. But Reid Hoffman, uh, I know of Reid Hoffman. I'm not connected to him personally, um, but I ended up tagging him. Yesterday, when I had done productivity, I tagged 3 specific authors, one of them being Tony Robbins. Now, Tony, I have met and, I have done some work with, but the other 2 authors I have met. So it could be some people that you genuinely admire. You can end up also tagging them. Okay. So
Great, thank you, Neeraj, for that. We are almost over an hour now, so and there are a lot of questions unanswered. Somebody wants to know if they can get a recording of this webinar. The answer is yes. You will have access to a link which will be live for the next 3 days, and we are happy to share that with everybody who registered for this webinar. And there's another question from Anupam, who wants to know a little bit about the premium LinkedIn service. Could you care to comment, Neeraj, on that for a minute?
Yes, so there are 2 paid services. One is the premium and one is the sales navigator. So what I would say to you is first learn how to use LinkedIn in the free version. Okay. It's like initially knowing how to drive a car. Okay. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is like a Formula One car. If you don't know how to drive a car and you try and drive a Formula One car, you could end up getting killed. Now, you're not going to end up getting killed using Sales Navigator, but you're really not going to get the kind of value. So that's what I would say.
Right. And Susan wants to know, how would you rank views versus comments versus share in terms of importance, and what are the analytics one should be looking at when you do a post?
I think comments is something that the algorithm pays more attention to, and thereafter the shares. So comments, I would say first, and then shares.
Great. Okay, on that note, I'd like to wrap up today's webinar. I want to thank Neeraj Shah for making us more intelligent about networking, about LinkedIn. Conversations are the new lead. That's my personal takeaway. And of course, I now believe in ROR instead of ROI. And I hope all the participants did find value in this presentation. Stay connected with both of us. Neeraj has displayed his credentials online. You can reach me through onlywebinars.com anytime. We have 4 new webinars coming up in September. Stay tuned with us and stay safe. Thank you for participating and wish you all the best.
Thanks,
Bye-bye for
Sharad.
now.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Neeraj. Stay safe.
Thanks.